What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this one, what we're going to be going through is how long it takes to rank on Google. All right, so if you are brand new to this channel, you may want to consider subscribing, as I regularly put out SEO content, whether it be on ranking, content writing, backlinks, whatever it may be. There's tons of SEO information here and tons of affiliate marketing information. And most importantly, this video is sponsored by Ezoic.com. If you're looking to monetize your website with ads and increase your user experience and perform the highest yielding revenues, Ezoic is definitely a great way to go. Ezoic is a certified Google publisher that uses machine learning
to improve the performance of your website on a per visitor basis. Head over to Ezoic.com to sign up today.
All right, so there's generally three things that you really need to watch out for when you're trying to rank on Google with a brand new website. Now, many people don't believe in something called the Google Sandbox. Now, I actually experience this on each and every site that I have, unless you buy an expired domain. So if you have a brand new domain, the reason why you would go into the sandbox in the first place is purely because Google's going to test your website to make sure that it's not anything they wouldn't want on the internet or within its index. So the three things that I generally consider when I'm ranking a brand new website and trying to attain that first bit of traffic is your keyword research is very important, quality of content and how SEO friendly that content is, and your user metrics. These are like the three things that you really need to pay attention to. So why your keyword research? Well, if you're focusing on keyword research and you're going for a very difficult keyword, it's going to be very hard for you to show up within the top 100 Google results, and resulting in where you are ranked in the results will depend on how quickly you get traffic and how fast you rank. So if you go for something that's very difficult, even though you are potentially not trying to get straight number one, even to get to maybe position 50, all the top 49 sites ahead of you could be very large websites. So they could have a lot of authority, a lot of time in the game. It may be very hard for you to get in within those results. All right, now if you go for something that what we call is underserved in the SERP, then you're going to have a higher chance at ranking a lot faster and a lot higher. So what would be a good example of that? Well, if we were to actually go over to Google, I'll be able to show you an example of an underserved keyword. All right, so the way to usually find underserved keywords is purely to look for keywords that are question-based and have at least 5 words or more within the phrase. This will allow you to then find different results that have different kind of lower ranked websites around question-based keywords. And what you want to then do is just look out for seeing if you can see any kind of forums or anything like that. And that's usually the strongest indicator to tell you that it's something you can rank without the need of backlinks and rank very fast for. Now, if you're brand new to SEO, I would highly recommend that you go out and do around 10 to 15 articles for the first 10 to 15 based around these question-based long tail keywords to get that first initial amount of traffic and start building up your site's authority. Content quality, how and why does this matter? Well, your content quality is very important. Number one, the level of content is going to depend on how people perceive your content and behave on your content when they land on it. So what Google does is, first of all, when you're a brand new website, Google will test your website to see user metrics and how people behave on your post. So they might put it at position 14 because maybe position 14 on average is getting 2 people a day or 10 people a day. And this is where you get tested. So it will test your click-through rate, like how many people are clicking through, and the behavior when people land on your pages, which is made up of a variation of different metrics. And if you ever want to check out all of the user metrics that are tested, then there's a really good blog post that I'll leave a link to in the description box. The other way that content quality matters on your rankings and how fast and high you rank is how SEO friendly it is. So I use an on-page SEO tool called Surfer SEO that tells me where to put the keywords and how many times to place the keyword within a given article. It also allows me to see the optimal word count for the article and how fast my page should be loading in order to compete in the top 10 results. Now, you might not need to do all of that if you're just trying to target a very easy long tail keyword, but when things start to get a bit more difficult, then all of these metrics start to take place. Now, the third thing is user metrics, which is very important. So depending on what you do on the first 2 steps will then result in your user metrics being affected either in a negative way or a positive way. So it's very important that you have lots of media, use lots of titles in the right ways, breaking up your sections. You don't have walls of text, so everything's broken up nice and easy to see, whether it be on a mobile or on a desktop, and just different general SEO good writing practices to keep someone reading on the page. So let's talk a little bit more about the sandbox period and what that's about. So as I said earlier, sandbox period is purely for Google to test and factor out or phase out any websites that they really don't want showing up within the SERPs. So the way they identify that is based on many different ways, but you can actually speed this process up if you follow a few steps. So one of the steps being to get indexed in a fast amount of time is, number one, you can set up something called Google Search Console. And what this is Google's service where they allow you to force index your website. So Google has its index, which is just a big index of results, yeah, what you see in the search engine results pages. And what Google would like you to do, and what's good SEO practice, is when you start up a brand new website, you can actually register it with Google Search Console, register your XML sitemap, which increases the chance of your site being ranked purely because your site's being crawled by Google a lot more. And then you can force index each individual page that you post. So when you post an article, you head over to Google Search Console, force index that post on Google Search Console. So now Google's index is aware that that article is on the web. Secondly, you can actually send social signals to your articles. Now, this is usually only a good thing to do after you've got traffic. So if you could get traffic from maybe Instagram or social media or somewhere like that, or maybe you've got a big email list, then that's going to give your article some user metrics that Google can work with. And then you can actually hit it with some social signals, which is then going to appear that the article is being shared across social media, which can give Google some good signals that your article is good, okay, it's being shared. The next thing you could do is some foundational backlinks. Now, a lot of people don't use backlinks, and if you are targeting these easy underserved keywords, then there is really no need to target those articles with backlinks. But if you are going into something a little bit more competitive, then it might be a good idea to go and get one, guest post, okay, and two, citations. And what citations are is no follow links from directories within your niche. And you might want to register on Google My Business. This is very good even for an affiliate site because it appears that you're a real legitimate business to Google. And the reason why guest posts over any other type of backlink is purely because a guest post is on a brand new article. So very seldom are you actually going to experience with a brand new website that third-party websites are going to take an old existing post that's maybe been up there for 5 years or so, go into that post, change the link to your brand new article that just showed up a week ago. It looks very suspect, wouldn't you agree? Instead of doing that and getting caught out by Google and penalized, instead you go for guest posts. And guest posts are articles that are created on third-party websites that are brand new articles. Those articles are created and then it appears that the webmaster of that website has gone out and searched for different articles, came across your new article that just showed up, could have been shared on social media, as obviously if you've given it traffic and social signals, then this now justifies a guest post. And what can happen is then you go and get that guest post to a brand new post on your article, which is niche relevant and obviously can pass on some level of authority if that site overall domain authority is quite high, okay? So you're not going to get as much authority from a guest post as you would with, say, for example, a link insertion, but at the same time, it gives you some kind of relevance and a good signal to get you out of the Google sandbox. The next thing is you can build topical relevancy. So what this is if you've got different sections on your website, let's take, for example, you go into the fishing niche, okay? So you might have one section for rods, one section for boats, one section for protective gear. Well, if you were building something all about rods and your first article was about fishing rods, then you could continue to build all different type of fishing rod articles that will create topical relevancy. And what that is basically your site has substantial amount of articles on that given topic, which makes you appear to be an authority to talk about that topic. Whereas if you just had one article, then Google doesn't have enough information to really warrant you to show up in the page results for that, okay? So you might not rank well in that certain circumstance. So how long does all of this take? Like, how long does it take to reach your peak performance on an article, on a brand new website? Well, on average, from my experience of doing this for just over 2 years now, and then also looking at other case studies and different websites that I've researched on, I've found that an average of 6 to 9 months is what you can expect for the optimal performance of any given blog post on a brand new website. So if we take a look at this website, the first article that was published was on the 9th of November. Now, what's interesting about this website is I actually bought this as an expired domain. So it wasn't a brand new domain. It was already being used for something else, but I repurposed it. And if we take a look, we can actually see that from the first day this website started to get traffic. And what was quite interesting is when I purchased it and published the article, I saw that it was ranking like number 15 or something on the first day, which was quite interesting. I had never seen this before, and it was purely just to do on a test purpose. So I think the site only has about 14 articles at this current stage. And as you can see, I targeted very easy long tail keywords, the question-based keywords that I was explaining earlier. And we can just see over here that it's like getting 0 searches a day for most days. And then as we see up here, it starts to gather more traffic until it's just kind of staying stable at this point. So if we look from the first point of when I first published on the 9th of November, we can see that straight after that, it took about 5 months. So we're looking about 5 months here. And this was a domain that was already being used for something else. However, because it only has 14 articles, I think the site at this point is getting like 1,000 searches a month or something like that. Yeah, see, so just 2,000 visitors per month, roughly 1,800. With 14 articles, that's not pretty bad. What you can see is that this is made up of 14 articles. So if we're to actually do the maths on that to work out an average, and on average, each article is bringing about 128 visitors per month. So if we actually just say, for example, wanted to get to like 40,000 visits per month, yeah, let's just have a look, and we divide that by 128, we can see that we'd need like roughly 300 articles at this stage. Okay, but the more articles you publish, the more of them, just say, for example, each one on average is adding 120 visitors. Well, if you added more, then this number would be higher up, you know, because all of them reaching their 4 or 5 month period would then be higher up here, optimal, you know. So the more you publish at the beginning, what I'm saying has a positive effect later on in 4 to 5 months from your rewarding efforts. So let's take a look at a different site. So this is a different site that I always report on my YouTube channel and wherever else that I'm currently doing like a case study kind of thing on. So if we actually take a look at this site, the first article was published on the 20th of April, but then I didn't publish for like 2 months. And then I published again like 1 article, then didn't publish again for like a month or so, and then published like 2 articles, and then didn't start publishing until like November of that year. Okay, and that was purely because I was running ads to like a landing page for this website and whatever else. So it wasn't even like an SEO optimized site. I was completely all over the place with affiliate marketing back then. So if we take a look at this website, you can see that the first article was published all the way back on 20th of April, but we didn't start getting traffic until the 2nd of January roughly. Yeah, so we could safely say. So you can see it took about 8 months from the first published article before I started getting traffic, and I really didn't even start publishing properly until about November. So you can see how long it took on average for this. Again, we're looking at that 6 to 9 month range. That was optimal. But first, I'd say 6 months it would take for a brand new domain that's not an expired domain or anything like that. You'd be looking about within 3 to 6 months to start getting traffic with consistent publishing on content. Now, as you get more experience and you build up more authority on your website, this can shorten. There's something where you hit an area called authority mode. And what that is when you're consistently publishing content, you're gathering links, and you're seen as an authority on a given topic. Google now ranks you a lot faster than you would have before. So to reach optimal performance in that scenario, you could expect an article to rank at its optimal peak performance within 3 to 4 months. Now, sometimes you can rank as soon as in the first day or 2 days or a week within the pages 1 to 3. But for the most part, you can expect that it's going to take about 3 to 4 months on average amount of websites. Now, why does that particularly happen when you're writing your content? You know, like, why is it that it doesn't happen in a month where you bring in the optimal amount of traffic or so on and so forth? Well, purely this is because Google actually takes time to rank you for multiple keywords over time. So Google's search engine is constantly crawling your website. So they're coming in and the robots are analyzing your content constantly and seeing different things and wording and sentences and phrases that you're using within your article and different links that are pointing to your website to deeper understand what you're relevant or suited to show up for. So first of all, if you're targeting like how long does it take to rank a new website like I am in this video? Well, if I was to write a blog post on that, that's going to be the first target keyword that I use, maybe in my SEO title, my H1 header of the actual blog post, and the permalink. But then Google's also going to notice ranking a new website takes how long is also a very similar term. And if that's being searched, then you're going to show up for that. How long to rank new website? Even though that doesn't make perfect English, that's also exactly the same question as what's being asked for. How long does it take to rank a new website? So what happens is over time, you'll actually see a list of different keywords that one page can show up for. I'm actually going to just throw up a video here that you can see that this one article is ranking for multiple terms. Okay, so that's how it works. All right, so that about wraps it up for how long it takes to rank on Google. From this video, you should now know how long it takes for a brand new website to rank a brand new article, how long it takes to get your optimal amount of traffic on average, and a few things and ways that you can actually speed up that process to get through that Google Sandbox testing phase. And don't be worried or scared if you see your site bouncing up and down at the beginning from different positions on ranking. That's perfectly normal, and that even happens throughout the whole lifetime of a website. It's always going to be going up and down on different pages because there's always new competitors coming in, and Google's algorithm is always testing different things. Okay, so if you have any questions regarding any of these topics, then don't be afraid to leave them below in the comment section. If you are new, then make sure to subscribe, and most importantly, to help this video get shared, make sure to smash that like button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.